George Hammerbacher is back in the booth, and Shane Woldford is from out of Roanoke, Virginia. I'm told that his parents own a pool room down in Roanoke, and
The Wolf's Den.
right, and he was national junior champion, and he was the best kept secret for 20 hammers on the Calcutta, and he's maybe it's past his bedtime. I don't know. That's the only thing some of these guys better hope. The way he played against Chris Bruner, he's got a scratch in the side. It was either going in off the 7 or going in clean like it did. Scott Roberts from Lynchburg, Virginia, plays out of the clubhouse billiards. That's going to be one of our stops next season, I understand.
Yeah, we just added it today officially. We were working to try and get a date, but looks like we'll be there in June of 2020.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to getting out to that part of the state and trying to get some of the Western Virginia people more familiar with the Action Pool Tour.
Oh yeah, well we played there like 2, 3 years, 4 years earlier. We played there and played in the winter time, and that was kind of scary being in the mountains.
That's why this one's in June.
Well, looks like Scott is going to get to the board here. Scott Roberts trails 2-1 now, and he's back on serve.
We will actually be back here at Diamond Billiards in February for the Virginia State 10-Ball Championship, men's and women's. So
that's always those are always nice events. With like a different dress code and.
We do like to have a little bit more of a professional appearance, so that way our videos will show the state of Virginia and its players in their best.
Well, I played on the Florida Pro Tour in the 1980s, and the lady that was the tournament director of that was a lady named Corinne Hoffman. Her sister Bonnie played on the Classic Women's Tour. They were both fiery, feisty, red-headed girls.
Oh my, oh my.
Pale skinned, and so they had tournaments every week, in these places, and I went to one where she sent out 5 of these galoots to go to either Sears or Montgomery Ward's or someplace to buy a sports shirt and slacks. They came in looking like beachcombers, and she booted them right out. And took no for an answer wasn't even an option. These guys, this looks like it's going to be a possible 2-8 carom, real soft, and then try to fall on the 2-10. Played safe.
Oh, definite.
That
little room there.
Yeah, well, Scott is going to be checking wind currents over the 7 and the 5 ball. He's going to make sure there's no crosswinds. But we drew 30 players, and it looks like we're down to 4?
Final 4. And we will finish this event out tonight.
Nice hit from Scott. And he got a real nice maybe he might be able to come off this rail. He might call a 7. Go in off the 10. She should check it out. It might catch the rail and go in off the 10. Might call the 7. Now he left an easy kick. If Scott can't hit this ball directly.
Well,
Yeah.
say Scott is definitely here today doing well, and he will more than likely be at our December event next month at Q-Master for the top 16 men and the top 3 female in our points list. And
Is that all we're going to have is 16 players?
19, because we're doing top 16 men, top 3 ladies.
But that's all. It's going to be long races.
Some of that is still in the works, but December 7th at Q-Master Billiards, it's going to be a lot of good pool on our stream, because the players, they want that prize fund. It's a very nice prize fund. It's what we want to do for the, to show the players the appreciation, make sure they get some good payback out on that final event.
Yeah, and for participating and supporting the tour, even when they were out of the money, they were gaining points or playing in the second chance events.
That's correct. Not every player in the right now in the field that's going to be eligible to play has even won an event. I mean, you just keep out, you come play, you earn enough points, and you can still participate in the year-end tournament.
Scott might be looking to snatch his cue ball over into the 10 and play safe if he misses the 10. I don't know what he's doing. Doesn't look like that's what he's going to do. He had the ball flush. Oh, that was tasty. That was delectable almost.
Well, speaking of delectable, I would also like to throw out a big thank you to the people here at Diamond Billiards who fed me today, because I ate some really, really good food.
I had the steak wrap myself, and it was as thick as my fist. The steak wrap. It was delicious.
I did the slider plate, so I had 2 burgers, the mini burgers, but they're small versions of some of their main attraction burgers, and the potato salad.
This place does it right.
I don't order potato salad anywhere. I don't know that it's been made well, because most of the time it comes out pasty, and I don't like it.
I don't blame you. If it's homemade and fresh daily, you know the difference between that and stuff that's been sitting and just refrigerated and clumped.
This stuff did not come out of a plastic container.
No.
George, guess who just pulled up here? Our league director and tournament director, Mr. Tiger Baker, who's going to take over some of the vocals here, because...
Oh, he gave you the look of love. He gave that look that Count Dracula gives you when he feels that pine under the aortic chamber.
Well, he's certainly a better quality commentator in this type of event than I am. So I think that it's a good thing for me to turn over the mic and say, Happy Saturday.
George, it feels like 11 o'clock at night.
Well, it'll be that in an hour or so, as it is. But the thing is that in my lifetime, I've watched the sun come up in just much too many pool rooms. Watch the dew sliding down the glass.
Well, I'll be buying your book when it comes out, because we're going to have to write that in a couple of years, George. I tell you what, this Shane Woldford lost his first match today, and he's won 5 straight and ran through some really good competition, George. He's been finding his stroke for the last 12 hours here.
He crushed Chris Bruner. Chris was like, it was like apples and oranges. He played so good. He played world class. He did.
Still looks very fresh out there. It's good to be young, I guess.
Well, you see the people, and I've been an instructor for like 44 years, and that the people that pick up the game as adults, that's a tough role there, because now he's jacked up over the 9. It puts a little bit more guesswork into this ball.
Well, I tell you what, without Chris Bruner here today, it looks like we're going to have a new champion on the Action Pool Tour this stop here, George.
It's either going to be Scott, this boy, Larry,
or Danny Mastermaker.
Danny is undefeated. Yep, you see, over the top.
He knew it before he hit it there, didn't he, George?
Well, he got a funny roll. The ball breathed across the 9 and ended up in quicksand.
We're going to have to get some information from you. We're going to start putting out a little program, maybe a 4-6 page program starting in January also. So when we do our George Hammerbacher Open in September, we'll make sure that we get some good career highlights, because I know you have a lot, George. We're looking forward to that event too.
I'm just, like I said, I just love the game, and
Well, I'll tell you what, the people of the world.
He might be going in the hole here.
You know, whether it's, he's hung, but he's nippled there.
No, he hadn't. He's got the
okay?
outside edge of the
All
ball.
right.
It's a hanger. He got real lucky. He might watch. He has to watch this. Watch the 2-railer in the side pocket on the same side, because the speed of this is. He's almost got to go all the way and end up on the same rail he shot from.
Dead center. His stroke is looking really good, George.
Yeah, well, he's You see what I noticed about like youngsters versus people that picked up the game as an adult. Now, Scott has played for a long time and he's moves fluidly, but there are people that picked up the game as adults. They move real woodenly. Mm-hmm. They don't move with that fluid motion that people that picked up the game as kids. You can always tell if you're looking for that. And this kid moves real fluidly.
And we got confirmation from Scott Roberts just a few minutes ago that we'll be having a tour stop in Lynchburg, Virginia this year.
Right, we've been there before, Tiger. Like a few years. It was a nice room. It had 8 bar tables and two big tables, and they had a natural disaster there. Some kind of storm or something hit the place, and now they have 12 7-foots, and they have I believe they have 4 9-foot. And it'll be a bar box stop.
Well, they're telling us now that they're going to have 8 tables for us by the time we get there. So we'll see what happens there too. Roanoke also wants us to come. We want to spread it out a little bit and see if we can develop some more clientele. So, to be honest, even our hometown of Virginia Beach, it's been a mecca for pool for many years. Mm-hmm. Hasn't been showing up to play on these bar, but it's one of the very few big table tours around anymore, unless you want to go up to New York or as far down south as Florida, because in the North Carolina region, basically it's bar box pool across the board with Herman Parker. So I want to keep this thing going. It's been a real educational year. We appreciate everything you did. That's why usually you're not here anymore and you get a tour named after you, but you're definitely well deserving. I'm looking forward to that. We're going to make it something very special.
Thank you.
Now, if you want to play in it, you can too. I know you played in one and you didn't feel it, but we'll see.
Oh, look
Another great hit. George, one thing I wanted to ask you, and we don't talk about pool too much. We commentate on what we see, but this 10-ball break, I've been watching that. It seems like on the outer tables in particular, I haven't been on the TV table too much today, but maybe 50%, maybe even less of balls going in on the break over here. Have you been seeing the same thing on the TV table?
Yeah, you see, this is a 10-ball is a real grind, and the races should be 10 to 15% shorter than a 9-ball event because of the called pocket aspect, but because of the layouts you get on the break, you have sometimes 5, 6, 7 innings with
and
players.
Especially at this level with these safety plays, these matches can take a long time. We were set up at 7-6, and with the turnout, we had made a rule earlier in the year when we got below 32 players, we'd extend the race out one on each side, and I don't know, it's probably going to get us out of here a little bit late today, but this, I'm
booked for the hotel, and checkout time's 11, so I'm going to get 8 hours sleep. And
well, you've been commentating for 12. It's probably going to be a 14-hour day for you today. So what we try to do, I tell you, George, when we got this tour, you know, you got expenses to pay for. We had a motel, and I don't mind telling everybody at home, we had a motel set up for tonight. And we looked at the payouts. We didn't like what the payouts were, so we turned to every added piece of money that was here to this tour to make it good. So they were able to refund the money for us, so we'll be taking a long trip home tonight, but it's only 2 hours, so we want these players to be able to play for some money.
My trip is about 3 hours plus back to Baltimore.
Oh, boy.
Well, and it's like 4.5 hours to Virginia Beach or 4 hours to Newport News. And Lynchburg and Roanoke, it's going to be. He wasn't. I guess he
won both of those balls there, George.
No, this is the shot I was just showing Andrew.
He hit that pretty well.
Right. Well, there's a specific setup on that ball that you just flat out can't miss it. Good shot from Scotty, and he gets back to 3-2 and won his break again. But the break is there's only going to be roughly even with the high grade players, you're only going to see a break and run in any race to 8 or 7. You're only going to see maybe 1 or 2 break and runs in a race to with 13 games or so maximum. It's going to be 6-1. There'll be 6-1 underdogs to break and make a run out off of the break, and they're only 50-50 to 40-60 underdogs to make a ball on the break. Watch the 6 and the 7 behind the 1. And they're going to flip to the side pocket, and the 2-3 bank 4 rails from the angle Scott's hitting them on. There's the 6 in the side. The 3 was going in, but the 9 ball was in its path.
And even sinking a ball, he's got a length of the table shot with a 1 ball on the rail, so we're looking at the safety right off the bat. I'm not sure if you can see it.
But Scott let his cue ball get forward. That was his error.
We're looking at a push out here, aren't we?
Yeah, and you see how these racks, they generally get concentrated in the center phalanx of the table. Those 2 diamonds. You see very few balls in the easy zones. These balls are all congested. See, this is a hanger, and he can go right into the 2 ball. He'll make this ball. He's beautiful. He caught a little ball and got pure on that.
looked like it took him. Jimmy Bird played very well against him. He missed a couple shots earlier, but he's played some real good pool since then. And these are the two players that knocked out our Action Pool Tour every kind of champion, Chris Bruner, this year. So that's the two people that knocked him out right in front of us.
Well, Chris didn't get anything going on his break. He broke in one rack, which was about the average, but he had absolutely no shots after his break, or he scratched on the break once, and this kid just gobbled him up.
Now, George, out of 8-ball, 9-ball, and 10-ball, how do you rank him as a commentator, skill level wise? Is 10-ball the hardest between the three?
I would have to say that 8-ball on big tables might be right in there with 10-ball because you still have congestion. If you're playing on freshly covered tables, that changes. But this is an easy out, and he's going to go back up 4-2. But the game, one of the best games I've ever seen that I haven't seen played around here since I had the pool room in the early '90s. It was a game called Hurricane 8-ball.
Now, how'd you play that, George?
It's 4 stripes, 4 solids, and the 8-ball in a 9-ball rack. And you played 8-ball like that, and play long races, and you don't get all that congestion, and it's I played in a tournament, Tiger, in Lincoln, Nebraska in 1990. I was 90. It was 1990 in Lincoln, and I got all the way to the finals, and the finals was a race to 21, and I was winning 17-4. I had run 13 straight racks.
Wow.
And I broke and scratched and shook the man's hand. I lost 21-17.
Wow, and that was in the short rack? The Hurricane?
Hurricane. It was real popular at the pool room I had because 8-ball was like a drag and just all this bunting around and chipping around.
Now, was that on the bar box or the big tables, George?
It were on a 4x8 Irvin K with big cue balls, which were my specialty, the original oversized cue ball.
They have a new organization at home that called the NAPT, and they're playing. They call it short rack 8-ball is what they call it. I haven't played it before, but that's what they call it. This is interesting.
No, he played to a kick, but watch.
He gave it back real quick.
Well, watch this. Scott's going to get him up behind the 3-ball. No, he hit it too full. He left a shot too, but it might be the same thing. And it was, like I said, I had 32 local players every week for that, and for the regular 8-ball that we played, I was hard pressed to get 12.
Wow.
We had a 9-ball event with for the locals. That did well, and then we had an open tournament for players like this, the best players in town, in Baltimore, D.C., and all came up for a $20 tournament that we played. Races to 6, one single elimination. We played. That's a good
for all
strike.
the pool players that are out there right now, George, with all the pool that you've played throughout your career, who would you say was your Maybe a player that everybody knows. Your biggest win. Do you remember? Just in a regular match, not even a tournament.
I beat a guy who came from Texas. A friend of mine called me. This was to a pool room in Bel Air, Maryland, north and east of Baltimore, about 35 minutes. He isn't going to like this. Oh, he's all right. But that my friend didn't have the heart to play this guy, and he called me over to play him. And I came up and played him, and we played $50 a game in 9-ball, and this was like 1972.
That's like playing for 200 or 300 a game right now.
And the guy drove up in a semi with a cowboy hat, cowboy boots, and I beat the guy out of about $1,200 at $50 and then $100 a game.
Wow.
And finally, when I broke this guy, he quit, and I took the money off the light, the last $100 that was posted, and I said, I'll tell you what, I'll play you $200 against your cowboy hat. And I was just trying to give the guy $200 back. I was going to let him win and walk out with money.
Mm-hmm.
Because that was what we did. And
George, don't tell me you took his hat from him, did you?
Oh,
Where did that ball scratch there?
I gave it to my friend as a souvenir.
You took his hat, George.
Of course I did, because what happened was we were playing 9-ball. He made the 9-ball and scratched, and I ball in hand with the 9.
That would probably be more disrespectful to not make that 9-ball than, as a competitor. So yeah.
So I took his hat, and I won $1,000 in a cowboy hat, and I gave my friend $150 for steering me. But we had in Detroit, we almost. I wasn't the one playing in this match myself. We went to a downtown pool room in the heart of inner city Detroit, and a guy that was, let's say, a real great player in his own right. They called him the Beetle. His name was Ronnie Lawrence.
Ronnie Lawrence.
Ronnie Lawrence. Well, Ronnie and I go in, and Ronnie plays this guy, and we win $22,000. And we bust this entire pool room.
And you got out alive too. That's
no. I'll tell you the rest of the story. This is like the inner city Detroit we're in.
Lord.
And we were the only two folks of our particular persuasion, but the place had a great reputation of being safe to come and play and gamble. So when Ronnie broke the guy, we take the money off the light, go up and settle the time, and out we walk. We walk up this here, and we're back on the street. And that as we're walking down the street, these two guys come from the pool room, and they follow us up the stairs, and we get like 5, 10 feet, 20 feet away from the door of that place, and I hear this, "Hold up, snowflake," and I thought he was saying this is a hold up, but what he was doing was he was actually, he and his friend were going to escort us to our car because he saw a couple people on the phone and that they might have been setting up a robbery out there, and they walked us to our car and they said, we saw these guys, we didn't know them. And he said, your man played great, he said to me, and but come back on Friday, we'll be pumped up again and we'll play some more. And with 22,000, we walked out of there.
That's a lot of money, but that shows that there's integrity everywhere.
But I'll tell you where I was close to getting killed. I was close to getting killed over $2.
Over $2.
Sure, because people, you see, when you're playing people, and they're only betting $2, and they're taking it so serious that
might be the last $2 they got.
No, that they think they're sharp, and you might show them up in front of their wife or their girlfriend.
Right.
Uh-oh, he's a little short. He's going to be straight in now. Oh, he caught a little angle. He's out. He's perfect. He's just going to drift out nice to this. But I was in East Lansing, Michigan, on the road, and I was by myself at this place where Michigan State
ties it up 4-4.
Or 4-4.
4-4. We didn't mark the last one.
That's all right. Well,
we're in heavy discussions right now, Joe, trying to entertain this crowd late at night.
Well, and I'm playing this guy who's wearing coveralls, and I'm winning games. They started playing for drinks, and then it was faster, and I had won like $50, $60 playing $2, $3 a game, with the challenge table going on with the quarters and all. So, he's misplaced his mineral.
I'll tell you what, the whole complexion of this game has changed. Look at this 210 right here.
So what happens is that this I'm playing 8-ball for $2 or $3, and I get like a nice shot on the ball before the 8, and this guy is a bricklayer, and he says, if you run out from here, I'm going to kill you. And I just looked at him and laughed, and I shot, cue ball tracked perfect, and I'm on the 8, and he slashed at me with this trowel that he had, and he catches me right across the shirt.
My goodness.
And I hit him with the butt end of this house cue and knocked him into next Tuesday. So Scott Roberts takes a 5-4 lead.
3 consecutive wins there. That's, you get a quick game like that, that helps out a lot.
Sure. So now this guy's laying across the table, and I looked over, and he has an identical twin brother on the next table over. And he looks at me and says, I was watching that. He said, what he did was wrong, but you should get out of here, mister. He has a gun, and if he wakes up, he's subject to use it. And I said, see you later. and as I was going, I walked down this ramp, and I heard the bullet whiz over my head and hit the door jamb right over my head, and just I was out of there. I almost got killed over like $40, $50.
Oh, goodness.
And
well, you've taught me now. I can't even go to dinner outside the pool hall with you now. So George, I just can't do it.
No, there's that. You see, there's that
4-railer, just like you called it.
And Scott, if he can draw his ball, this 3-ball is
a nice looking table, isn't it, George?
6-ball is the issue. But
Scott's been on the verge, George, of doing something. Every tour, it seems like he's getting on the door, knocking on it a little heavier each time.
He's a good player. I was bidding on him in the Calcutta.
We got Liz Taylor just come up behind me. Top 50 in the country. She's flirting with top 100 in the world.
Or is she just flirting?
She does that too. She does that too.
Not that online?
Online. We're live right now. She's I think you're. Where are you going? Who gave you a ride?
Kelly?
Kelly. Really?
I got to think he's heading towards the 10 ball with this. It's the safety and the carom won the 10 ball. No, he's going to shoot out.
No, you called it right, George.
He didn't. He killed himself with that one. But there was a pool room that I ran for a time in Baltimore County that had a full-grown African lion running around in it loose. Really. And the guy that had it was a collector for bad debts. He was a collector on bad debts, and he actually, a guy owed him $800, and
oh, he hung another one.
Over chipped the cheddar.
I don't know. Did he leave him enough to get there on the next shot, though, George?
I'd say
you go right between them.
I'd say he goes right through the Dardanelles, and.
Now, is he going to try to hit it hard enough to get shape on a shot with a 6, or is a 6-10 combination something that maybe?
That was how I would like to lose weight, by putting my cue ball middle table and shooting that 6-10 and betting on it each time. That's how I could lose 100 pounds betting on that one.
Well, let's see what he does here. He hit it hard. He's going around trying to shoot the 6 in the side. Or maybe all the way up the table, it looks like. Yeah, he didn't hit it too bad, George.
He might play it in the side because he has absolutely no market. Now he played the corner and he split the wickets.
Speed.
Good, that's a great shot.
So will he go back and forth here, George? Or he's going to try to deaden it and put it on the rail?
He's just going to draw it over to the rail.
This guy does have a beautiful stroke.
He's coming 1, 2, 3 cushions with the high left ball, and he's going to be. He's got to hit near the chalk off the second rail. He doesn't want to draw it and hit that side pocket into play.
That's what he's looking like he's trying to do too, George. So
I got him going with the high right ball, but it's his shot. It isn't. He's drawing it.
Low. He's going to draw it right back over there at third diamond. Hit a good shot there. I mean, that's not a gimme by any stretch.
He had a shot to go forward with that ball, I believe, but it was his shot. I couldn't quite see what he was seeing.
Now, is there a scratch possibility here, George, from the angle you're seeing, or
no?
He's all right.
No, he's gonna have a lot of high or center left on this ball. He's short.
And he hung it, didn't get enough of the ball.
He's conceded it, and it's 5-5. That's a
George. How come every time we sit down to commentate a match, it goes hill?
Because
it's just the way it is.
Because that's the exact nature.
Every time.
These guys near the end are all going to be very evenly matched.
That's you know who's sitting in the wings? Larry Crissell is in the wings.
It would be Libra, and my name is Larry.
10:20. We're looking at about a 12:30 to 1 o'clock finish time, which is early for you, George, because you have done the 5 a.m. commentary before. I know you have.
I've done it all. But back to the story with the lion. That this fellow owed this man Ronnie that was really running the pool room owed $800. So I walked in one morning on a Tuesday morning, and we're going to go to the racetrack, and that's a crummy shot there. You see, he didn't cut off any rails. You see, that's the trouble. if you get a shot like that, he's supposed to belly him on the 3, and that's the difference between these guys or Kolyo's and James Aranis's. That sometimes you get away with it, and sometimes you don't.
Yeah, I watched an International Open that was in Virginia Beach just a few weeks ago, and I seen safeties, and like you said, a safety for them was
On top
contact with the ball that they were playing safe with. Side pocket hadn't been too friendly to Scott, but he does a two-wayer.
No, he's left a wide open shot. This is a wide open shot. If he decides to shoot.
Oh, it's time to take flight, George.
I think he might be able to spin it off of there, go through the keyhole, and come all the way up table and flop on the 2 in the side pocket.
Now, George, the way you would have shot this, you would have put it on the rail between the 3 and the 6 and 2 railed it in there. I know what you would have done.
Well,
just because you could.
I guess he doesn't have the.
I was going to say, if he's hitting that one, if he's not going to be overshoot down, he's going to undershoot it.
That's a critical miss there. So, the story.
So you went to the track, and what happened at the track?
Well, no, we didn't get to the track. What happened was that we're waiting for our guy to show up, so Ronnie and I can go to the track together. And Ronnie says, I looked in the corner and there's this animal laying in the corner. And I said, what's that, Ronnie? You get another dog? And he said, look again. He said, it's a lion. And I said, what? And I walked over, and it was a lion cub about like 5 weeks old. We knew people that could get a lot of unusual things. That was part of the way of life we had. And so I said, what are you going to do with this, Ronnie? Can't have it around here. And Ronnie says, it's tame. It's just going to be like a big kitty cat. And but I said, you're not going to keep this lion. He said, no, the guy's coming back in a couple of days. He gave it to me to hold for the $800. He like pawned it. And
pawned a lion.
He pawned a lion. So now we're waiting for the guy to come back with the 800, and we discovered he got locked up and he's got no bail. So that's the end of that. So Ronnie's got this lion now. Nice hit. And so Ronnie holds on to this lion for almost 11 months, and it grew and it grew and it grew. And, well, that was a place you learned how to stay down on balls. You didn't jump up because sudden movements would be hazardous to your health.
Yeah, I could have hit that one a little better, too.
I like him coming off the other side of the ball. Yeah, he's doing it. He's going to be behind the 6-9.
Good speed there.
But he's still got the bottom rail. The bottom rail is his only shot. He might make the ball too. So the story really gets long and involved, but he's fan doing it. This could be a 30, a
fourth win right in a row.
A 3-10 combo. Or he's going to play the 3-4 and the 6 in the side. Oh, I don't understand this. He's going to be straight in with it now.
It's a big looking pocket. You think he can get a little low on this and kick it off the bottom and cheat it a little bit, George?
No.
What's he going to have to do here? Leave it right there and try to cut it.
He's going to have to pop it with a lot of high and come out in front of the 6. He ends up with it in the corner, but he wanted it in the side. He's got a good angle. He's going to roll to the 7 in the side, I think. This is good. He beats the 10. He can go 2 rails and get just right in front of the 8. High, a little high center ball. Don't even have to use any English on this. If he uses English, he could shorten it up and run into the 8. He's going to get near the corner pocket. He missed the ball. That was the natural to come off. That was a hanger. You know,
he was there too.
Sure, he was there. You can't ask for any more than that with a 4-ball layout and you're in line.
That's one thing about playing pool. Even though we're in here a little late, it's always about the grind, isn't it, George?
Sure, it's a grind.
What's the most days? I'm letting the crowd know about you tonight. Most days you played in a row without sleeping.
Well, I'll tell you about once I played a ring game that I played 38 straight hours.
Ooh.
In other words, a man earned his money 3 days, three shifts while we were still on the table. A houseman started, went home, came back to work the next day. We were still there. And then came in a little early for his 3rd shift, and we were still there. And we went through 6 complete changes of balls. The cloth and all was done about 5 to 6 times. About every shift they stopped us. And like 5 shifts, 40 hours almost, we played straight.
Wow.
They had multiple. They had 5. We were playing like 4-handed, 5-handed for like 5 a game, and people were just floating in and out. I stayed for like 38 hours, and
wow.
I won about $800. But.
Let's see this break for Scott. He needs a really good break here to get something rolling.
That's no good.
2 ball, 2 ball, 2 ball, 2 ball, 2 ball.
Always.
There it is.
But you see the
but
one
the cue
ball.
balls, it's both times he's broke the last 2 times, George. You're right.
No, you see his cue ball got forward because he dropped his elbow. And when he drops his elbow in the back, the tip comes up in the front, and you get a forced follow action.
Play another push here.
He has to play a push. He's putting the 6 and 7 together to ensure that that this boy doesn't get away from him.
Broke it apart. I don't think he can see it to make it in, but he can see it to hit it.
I'll tell you what he's got. He's got to get past the 8 ball if he thins this ball with the right hand ball. Got to get past the 8. No, he didn't. Didn't get past the 8. See, that was the ball that he had to get behind in order to possibly
long bank here, George.
Safety. No market for the. Might be a 1. No. Safe on top of the 3 ball, and you got to start grinding right now. There's no.
If you don't, it could be the last shot of
safe
your
on top of the 3 ball. That's no good. He's got 2 railer or 3 railer at it into a real big ball, and he might come behind it and kick safe. I like it 3 rails, not 2. He's got to come behind the ball. Lots of right-hand English. See, that shot there was...
He got away with it, George.
Yeah, he got lucky. But that was a two-rail shot to kick and stick.
Mm-hmm.
This is... Scott is in... He's on death row here. But the one has got no pocket. It's calling the 9. But the nickel dime is a little compromised. This is the high left ball. I was teaching Andrew this shot. How to force balls that are straight in and curve across the ball, and create angles when you have none. He's going to draw it though, straight back. He had
a little bit of angle there to play with. Sometimes it's hard to see from here, George.
Yeah, well, I can't see what he sees in 3 dimensions. That's... This might be a carom to the 5-10. He needs to get to the middle of the table. Middle of the table. Middle of the table. Too far.
Looks like he's got enough room to get it by that 10 though.
He's to play the 10. But it played best from the center of the table. This is no good, I don't think.
If he can make this 5 past the 10, would it top right would get him over to the 7, Jim?
That's problematical. I don't know if he can get that much on it.
If he makes the ball, he'd have been all right there, George. You knew it was going to be a problem, though, didn't you?
Yeah.
We're going hill like we always do. It looks like, George.
Hill like we did did last summer.
It seems like every month.
Well, Scott is a little wrong on this. His cue ball is it's a little sharper angle than you might like. He might have to roll into the 7 with a lot of high right and actually try to spear into the 8 and hit the 8 and then the 7. But his angle's too sharp. I don't think he can do that. He might even bank this ball. See, he can bank and stick right there. But I don't know what he's going to do.
I think he's going to do what you said first. Going to run that cue ball right into the 7.
Nah,
that wasn't too good.
No, this is safe behind the 8. This is a no-brainer.
Is he going to have to come off the rail for it, George?
No, he's just going to watch what happens. He's going to go right to the first. That's middle diamond. Oh no!
No, he let them. Just enough to make it difficult, anyway.
This guy's got a game.
What was he thinking there, George?
He doesn't. He's gonna cut the ball back and come around and get behind the 8. Right hand ball. About 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock. Hit near the side pocket and creep up near the 8 ball.
Is there any circumstance where you go for this cut, George?
No. Like I said.
Did he get there?
It's
close.
It's a photo. The photo light is lit. It might be photo inquiry. Scott had 2 shots to get out. And didn't get out either time. This is the same shot again. Back to where he started. Overcut it. Oh, he drills the ball.
Not a good roll here neither.
Ugh.
Now, George, a lot of amateur players here shoot the 8 ball right into the rail.
No good. That's because half the time they're going to try so hard that they bunt and leave the ball in hand.
Oh, my goodness.
Well, no, he's leaving distance. That's all he can do. And but the overcut, the ball's behind the 10 and the cue ball's up table. He can't undercut this ball. Has to overcut it. If he plays the overcut side, and the 10 ball is on the fat part of the pocket. 10 ball's on the fat part of the pocket, so he's going to have to play the overcut side. It's going to make him play the shot right whether he wanted to or not.
He's got those young eyes. Drills it.
Peggy
Comes
Lee.
Around 2, 3, 4 rounds.
Peggy Lee says that's all there is.
Concedes the 10 ball to him, and a nice quarterfinal win from Mr. Shane Woldford. 7 matches in a row now, George, that he's won.
Scott Roberts goes back to Lynchburg in what, 4th place?
Fourth place. $200 for 4th place in a 30-man field. Not too bad payout for Shane. I'm sure he's not too Scott's not too happy with the finish being where he was a couple matches ago, but it'll be Shane Woldford now and Larry Cressell.